Alex, I am really looking forward to Halloween.
Me too.
So what movies have you watched lately?
Oh my gosh. Well, that we watched together or that I watched alone? Because I can start with Infinity Pool was one that I watched without
Oh, you watched it without me. You know, I wanted to watch it in theaters when it came out because I love the cast and I love Brandon Cronenberg. Baby Cronenberg does it for me. You had never seen it?
I had never seen it. It was something that I was just digging through the TV. I saw the name. I saw our girl Mia Goth in it.
Oh, we love Mia Goth.
You introduced me to her, and I loved her ever since.
She's so fucking good.
Yeah, so I watched it, believing that you had already watched it.
You know, I had never seen it. No.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool that I still watched it without you. And
I'm surprised.
I always wait for you.
I'm surprised you sat through the entire thing.
Yeah, so good, really good. So I won't tell you anything about it because you haven't watched it.
Well, I tried to. I sat through the first 8 or 12 minutes, but realized it was a movie that I was going to have to pay all the attention to.
Yeah.
It's Cronenberg. They're really, the Cronenbergs do not fuck around when it comes to attention to detail. You know, you really have to immerse yourself into it in order to get the whole picture.
Because even me watching it, the one movie that I actually chose to sit down and watch entirely felt like an infinity to me.
Oh yeah, good play.
I was like, whoa.
Have you ever seen a David Cronenberg movie?
I probably have, but I'm not familiar with.
Oh wait, no, you watched Maps to the Stars.
Yes, I did.
Okay, which is nothing like anything he's done.
It's nutsy, but not as crazy as this, I think.
I don't even think that's a good example of a David Cronenberg movie.
Yeah, really. It's more calm.
Oh, very much so. It's mellow. It's still a really fucked up dark movie, but it's nothing in comparison to the weird body horror.
No, because when I saw that movie, I was just like, these are our neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
These are literally our neighbors. So.
We live right below.
This is not a movie. This is...
those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else have you watched?
We watched Dark Harvest.
Oh, Dark Harvest. And it's funny because I felt like we watched Dark Harvest the night that it came out. And I was like, oh, I feel ahead of the game because we are watching something before everybody else. And now I feel very late because by the time we're talking about it, everyone else is already on that bandwagon, but Dark Harvest was good.
It's really good.
It's a really good Halloween movie. So if anybody wants to get in the groove of the season before it's over, that is a movie that is going to stick around for the years to come. It is so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because when I'm scrolling through the TV, my mind is I want to find one of those movies that make me feel Halloween-y or put me in the season. This is one of those.
David Slade really sold me on that one, and I was never really a big 30 Days of Night fan. I don't know if it was because I hate to bring up the whole Alaska thing again, but I lived in Alaska for a very long time, and I think it took maybe until the third viewing of 30 Days of Night, but I have a newfound respect for it. David Slade has a really good eye. It's visually stunning, and he really carried that over into Dark Harvest. Probably one of the best movies I've seen as far as visuals go in a really long time. And it's got a great cast, and the young cast especially did so well. Just the effects are outstanding, and I'm a sucker for Scarecrow movies, and they really did the Scarecrow thing so much better than I could have anticipated.
Plus, it's kind of sad, and then it gets really good.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to have that complex, tragic feel to it as well. And I think that the cinematography and the way that it was shot really contributed to it. And I look forward to if they do anything else with it. I think that that's a movie that could really benefit from a sequel or some sort of prequel. Yeah, I really liked it. It's a good Halloween movie, and I think that it's something that's going to stick for years to come.
I'm ready for it, and it's kind of like one of those full circle movies where it just
Yeah, it wraps itself up very, very nicely. Yeah. It's one of those movies where the whole time you're just talking throughout oh, it's going to do this, oh, it's going to do that, and the entire time I was proven wrong and you were proven wrong. So it was kind of nice to just kind of be kept on your toes.
Yeah, exactly. You think you're gonna guess the movie or get it, but it just
exactly. Nope. Yeah, so that was a good one. Totally Killer was also a good one.
Yeah.
I'm so team Kiernan Shipka. I love Kiernan Shipka so much. She was so good in The Black Coat's Daughter. I will always rave about that movie. And I love The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And everything that she's been in, I love so much. And what did you think of it?
I want to see her grow up, in movies, period. Remember I was telling you throughout the whole movie, I was just she has a perfect face for TV. We can just see her, grow up throughout the whole... I just want to watch her in more movies, more TV.
Well, yeah, and it's weird because we have seen her since she was a kid in Mad Men, but she started when she was literally a baby. So if you watched that movie or that television show, then you watch her from like being a very young baby until she, you know, progressed into like television films, and then she started doing the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina when she obviously is like a teenager, like a young adult.
Yeah, I think that's when I like properly like just met. You know, like,
and that's like also a really good show for people who are into horror. Like,
yeah, that's a really good show.
People kind of fell off like mid season 3, I think, and there's 4 seasons, but I loved it. I think there's a lot of good references for horror, and it's, you know, a good segue into horror for just people who don't love horror. I think
you expect certain things to go the way that you want them to, and it just doesn't. So then we're unpleased. But you know what? It's a really good show. It was really
I like it better than the one that was the TGIF one from back in the day.
Yeah.
What did you think of our favorite movie of the year, The Exorcist Believer?
Our favorite?
You know that feeling when you're anticipating something for like months and months and months, and then you were just like solely disappointed.
Yeah.
That was The Exorcist.
Honestly,
Believer.
they could have put this on TV and I would have been fine.
I just don't think it needed to be made.
No?
This movie cost like $400 million to secure the rights for all 3 films, because it's a trilogy. You know that. They're going to make 3 of these fucking things.
Oh, gosh.
And we had to sit through 1. And I think that it was such an assault to people who A, like the original, and B, just like movies, because there was a couple of good things, just like as like a movie lover. Like visually it was fine. They had like a good couple of like throwbacks to the original, I suppose, but they didn't need to have Ellen Burst in there.
No, and then the ending for me was just like, if you listen to our other podcast.
Yeah, but don't spoil it for the people who haven't seen it, because while we do like to slash up and bleed out movies that we are reviewing,
we're not going to do this.
We're not going to spoil that fucking piece of shit for anybody else who hasn't seen it. But
I just felt like they just threw too much church in the mix, too much Catholic. Too much, it was just too much for me. Like I love a good possession movie, and you know that's like my genre. But this was just like too. I just kept on looking at you like, oh my gosh, she's going to think like this is why I don't like it, because it's just too too churchy.
There just wasn't enough.
Over and over and over and over, and I'm like, that's enough.
And there was just too many characters, and there wasn't enough of like the little girls. And don't get me wrong, the little girls that were in the film did great.
Yeah,
it just wasn't an Exorcist film. And I think what made The Exorcist 1973 so wonderful was that it was what it was.
It's the filmmaking in that movie was just so great.
Yeah, it's like a perfect movie, and I feel like this movie kind of shit on what the original did.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't scary. And to be honest, I was just bored. And we were gonna review it, and there's your review.
Yeah, it was like listening to 2 versions of a song. You know, one you really like and the other one's just ruined.
Yeah, it was just kind of a cheap cash grab. Like, if they didn't have Ellen Burstyn, and if they didn't have the title, and if they didn't use, like, little things here and there throughout the movie, it would have been a different movie.
Which I'm glad she participated in the movie, but honestly, they didn't have to wake her up for that.
No, they didn't. And she was asleep throughout the entire, 10 and a half minutes that she was on screen. I heard that she donated her profits that she made to some sort of charity.
I hope she did.
So I hope she's not.
I mean, I don't hope she did, but it just,
I fucking hope she did. Holy shit. Holy shit.
I mean, she was still at work, She still
Whatever.
did her job. Her hand gestures did enough.
She doesn't need to act again.
Yeah.
It's funny that she got nominated for an Oscar for The Exorcist 1973, and in this one, you could completely remove her from the film, and it wouldn't make a fucking difference.
Honestly.
And then we have Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which we might review in the future. I had it on the roster, but I'm still marinating in it. I liked it,
but at least this one was more theater worthy than The Exorcist.
I feel like it was. It at least felt like it was in the same universe as the Pet Sematary films.
Yes,
and it felt more related to what I was used to. I enjoyed it.
Without stealing any parts from the original, like, I just felt like you can totally tell that it was a family member of Pet Sematary.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it felt it was taken from the Stephen King universe. And while it took a few liberties here and there, like with what it wanted to do with the story, it still made its point. It still made sense to me. And I mean, I still have some questions, and I still have some qualms with what I would have done differently, but it's not my movie. And it kind of gave me my own ideas of what I would want to do with a future film if I were behind the laptop writing the script for a future story. You know what I mean? So it kind of inspired me. And I'm just happy they're still making fucking movies.
Really?
Keep these movies coming. I think that these characters and this background story and this, I think that it's worth keeping fresh. Like, I think it's cool. Keep them coming back.
The original Exorcist is the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, whoa. Oh, you know what?
You know, like in that movies. Yeah. Like,
okay.
You can never, it was just the perfect classic.
I love that. That's a good comparison, actually. And The Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I wish we should actually do that one day, because that witch is horrifying.
It's considered a very scary film for a lot of people.
And the way she dies is pretty gory to me.
I mean, she gets water thrown on her and she melts.
Are we celebrating this murderess, Dorothy?
Yo, you know what?
And she's getting away with it.
She is a fucking bitch.
If we all had red shoes, can you imagine what we'd be getting away with?
Witch, kill the witch.
You're a witch. You're a bitch.
Oh, we watched Practical Magic too.
We did.
Well, which I haven't seen in a really long time.
Did you finish it?
Did I finish what? Is it plugged in?
Yeah.
I can't hear ourselves.
Oh. Okay, so did you finish it?
Finish what?
The movie.
Oh. So I do this thing where I fall asleep after I eat a lot of ice cream.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So we had just eaten a lot.
Yeah, we had gone out to dinner with Shelby and Eker, who I had just met.
Yeah, we went to the Formosa.
Yes.
The Formosa, and neither of us had ever been, and the portions are very, very big.
Yeah, they're pretty big, because we had even got asked if we wanted to have dessert, and we're like, no, we're just going to go home and chill.
Yeah, and we ate a fucking tub of ice cream, and Alex can power through, but I cannot.
I can. I don't know why. It doesn't get me.
And no, not me.
No death by chocolate for me.
No death by chocolate for me. No, I mean, yes, death by chocolate for me. And so we put on Practical Magic because you guys were talking about it?
Well, myself and Shelby were discussing what, she had asked me if I like movies, and I was just like, yeah, I have a list of 4 movies that I specifically like to watch, and Practical Magic had been one of those that we had mentioned. And Will Stanley, I think he's watched it, but he's never really cared to pay attention for it.
I haven't seen it. I mean, it's not that it's girly.
It's girly. Relax.
It's a girly horror movie.
Love.
Yeah.
So, anywho, we started talking about it, but I think that the way that Shelby and I were discussing the movie kind of got you like more, into it, because we were like, oh my gosh, the way Nicole Kidman like gets possessed, she looks really like scary, and the guy like that plays her lover, he's even scarier.
Oh, that's not his name's not Ricky, right?
It wasn't Ricky. It was
what was it?
Angelo, Jimmy Angelo.
It was something like that.
Like Angelo, because she keeps saying Angelo.
Oh, we watched it with subtitles. Yeah.
So.
Oh, there was a Pet Sematary reference that we talked about.
How we got you to watch the film, because we say that Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman kill this guy, and then they bring him back to life, but he comes back as this Pet Sematary thing. Like,
they
it's not
don't
the same.
come back the same.
Exactly.
Everything always leads back to Pet Sematary, you guys.
Yeah, really good, right?
No, it does. I love it.
It really does.
But yeah, I fell asleep halfway through, so I need to finish it. But I do remember really liking Practical Magic.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So what else? I think there was just one more thing that we had mentioned that we wanted to mention that we watched, which was.
Did we talk about May?
I think we did talk about May. There was one. Oh no, did we talk about May? We watched May.
Yes.
And Alex had never seen May before.
No, beautiful film.
It was so fucking good. Angela Batiste, whatever her name is, she is so good in that film. She's so underrated in everything that she's ever done.
When she took off her glasses and she gave that eye twitch to me, that I was sold. I wanted to watch the entire film. It was so good, and I wonder if that's real or was it makeup?
I'm sure it's not real.
CGI?
I'm sure. No. You guys, if you haven't seen May, everybody should see it.
You need to watch this movie. It's so good.
It's from 2002. It's directed by Lucky McKee. It deserves a review all on its own. And I love that we've spent like the first 20 minutes just hamming up other movies that we're not going to talk about.
You introduced these movies to me that are like 2009. I'm like, what? But the jokes are so modern. It's like so fresh and so good. I'm like, I can't believe this is like so.
It's definitely
old.
like got a bunch of like dark humoristic things to it that we were laughing a lot to it. But it's so tragic too. There's a lot of tragedy to it.
Yeah,
that makes you kind of think twice.
You went to Burke. You went to work and you left me for the better half, and I did not expect what happened.
Oh yeah. It.
I was like,
it's another movie that ends a little bit differently than you expect it to.
Yep.
Which would be a good Halloween costume, by the way. If people understood the movie and you showed up in that costume and they got it, I think that would be a fun one to make.
Like I started in May, I ended up in October.
There we go. Speaking of costumes, we got our costumes finally.
Yes, we did.
And we are not going to tell you what we are.
I'm not going to tell you.
No, we are going to post the day of Halloween Havoc. We're going to get them all decked out the day of.
You don't follow us on Instagram, follow us now so you can see the pictures.
The Gory Gays.
You'll see what we're dressed as.
Yeah.
So
oh,
good.
God. I can't believe it's our Halloween episode. And I am sure all of you expected us to do, an entry of the Halloween franchise that is super popular, like, Halloween 2 or Halloween 5 even, which, as we discussed last week, I apparently really love. But
yes.
I don't. But... Halloween.
Really?
Alex, what Halloween movie are we going to be covering today?
We are going to be covering Halloween 3.
There's more.
What's the Season of the Witch.
Yeah. And ironically, this is, I don't know if I'm using the word ironically right, but coincidentally enough, this is Alex's favorite Halloween movie. And, I don't know if it's his favorite.
Well, you know what? It's the one that I remember the most because they used to play this one every single Halloween when I was growing up, over and over and over again, all day long, even after midnight. And of course, I would come home, with my candy thrown all over the floor, picking out the good ones, eating those, setting the good ones, setting the ones that weren't bad.
What were the bad ones?
Well, the drugged up ones.
The drugged up ones?
Yeah, you save those later to sell them around school.
He's from Pacoima.
I'm from Pacoima. Grew up in the Valley, San Fernando. My peers taught me well. No, okay. So yeah, they would show this one over and over. And of course, we would watch it, but just waiting for Michael Myers to show up, and he never did. Basically, this was the poor man's Halloween because they would show this on local TV and not on HBO because we didn't have like HBO or satellite TV.
All right. So that was your relationship to it?
Yes.
Is that this is the one they played all the time on repeat?
Yeah,
on
and
cable.
that song just like it instilled itself inside my head and just quite. I think last podcast we were talking about it, or I brought it up.
We brought it up, I think, a couple of podcasts ago. Yeah. 6 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Well, I mean, what day is it right now? It's the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. So right now, yeah. I really like the music in this movie.
It's super cool. Yeah.
The music is so good. I think out of all the Halloween movies, this probably has my favorite soundtrack.
Yeah.
The music in this one is by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth. And I think that not only does this one have the best soundtrack, but it also has the best opening title sequence.
It does. But can I pause you for a second just because I mean not pause you but just interrupt you with another because this movie when I watched it again I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the opening to Christine, the movie.
Why do you mean?
The sound, the songs.
I think it's also this.
That's so Christine when the lights go on.
I think that John Carpenter and Alan Howarth also did the music to that.
You're giving me chills because I Googled it after and they're the exact same music for the exact same movie, 1980. And now I think is this the anthology they were talking about? Like this was going to be one of those films that just connects itself to the junkyard
it's
scene.
Supposed to be, there's a lot of background about Halloween 3. It was not supposed to be so Halloween 2 was never supposed to be, it was never supposed to happen. It was never supposed to be a continuation of the Michael Myers story. Michael Myers was supposed to be one and done. And what they wanted to do, what the original wanted idea was supposed to be, was they were going to do another movie, but have it be another story with new characters, etc. Yeah. So what Season of the Witch was going to be was a part of that,
kind of like what we saw in Trick or Treat, but bigger.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an anthology film series. Exactly. So Season of the Witch technically should have been Halloween 2. At least that's what I think.
Yeah. And they said that, because that Deborah, who was it?
Deborah Hill.
Oh, yeah. So they agreed to make this movie, but as long as it wouldn't be a sequel to Halloween 1 or 2.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Wallace did not want to be a part of Halloween Part 2 because he didn't want to have anything to do with Michael Myers anymore.
They were supposed to be these anthologies based on Halloween nights.
Yeah, and so something along those lines, yeah. And then Deborah Hill and John Carpenter produced this third installment.
They gave it a lot of money, though.
They did give it a lot of money, and they didn't even know or think about the fact that they weren't taking a big risk with not having Michael Myers back, because back then they didn't realize that Michael Myers was going to be this big money-making figure, because Halloween and Halloween 2 were, very successful.
Yeah.
But they didn't know what they had in Michael Myers just yet. But one of the producers, Erwin Yablans, is very notorious for saying that he thought it was so stupid that Michael Myers was not coming back, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like he always knew that not having Michael in the movie was going to be a big mistake. Mm-hmm. But how they could have known that all the way back then, I have no idea. So I guess this is a good time to say this is the movie that does not have Michael Myers. And that's why this movie is so infamous, I guess you could say, is because Michael Myers is nowhere to be seen, even though, as we already know and we pointed out, there are at least one scene in the movie where we do see him, and that's where?
When he's sitting at the bar, what's his name?
Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins is sitting at the bar talking to the daughter, I believe, of the guy that was killed in the opening sequence.
Yeah.
And they're talking, and you can see in the background TV, there's Michael Myers.
Yeah, they're watching a trailer or something like
weird.
that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is a trailer. Michael Myers in theater.
Yeah, they're watching a trailer for Halloween. So it's a really interesting movie. And, without that little piece of the original Halloween, and then they also throw in a little segment of the movie later on television.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be a Halloween movie. Had they just called this movie Season of the Witch, it probably would have fared a lot better because
it's a really good movie. Yeah, you're right.
It's a good film.
It would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah, because all in all, it's a pretty spooky, effective, weird little science fiction horror film.
The beginning, you said, what does it remind you of?
It's like a light bright.
Yeah,
that's really cool. It looks like a light bright. Yeah, and I love how Halloween 1, it's famous for the pumpkin. You're zooming in on the pumpkin, and then in Halloween 2, same thing. You're zooming in on that pumpkin, and then it breaks apart, and then you have the skull beneath it, or within it, rather. And in this one, you have like the I don't even know how to explain it, but like you get the pumpkin essentially.
Yeah, it's like this computer graphic from like an 80s type computer. That's like the turtle that I was telling you was like this type of system.
Yeah, it's like an early 80s.
You literally have to do like
screensaver
GF to like punch the little lines where you want them to go and shape the pumpkin.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's a lot of work.
And it shows up as a pumpkin, and it just reminds me of a light bright. And I thought that was really cool.
The beat of the music is what's building the pumpkin up.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, this music is just so fucking stellar. There's a lot of really cool things about this movie that we'll get into. And again, it doesn't really fit into the Halloween series of films at all, but that doesn't negate the fact that it's a good movie, because it is a pretty good film.
Younger, I'd be disappointed because I'd be like, where's Michael Myers? But now as an adult, I pay attention to the movie alone, separating Michael Myers from it, and it's such a good movie. Like, to me, it really is a good movie.
And that's the thing, you have to take yourself out of it. You have to stop
waiting for Michael Myers.
You have to remember that this isn't a Michael Myers film, and just call it Season of the Witch. Yeah, he's not coming. This is the night that Michael did not come home.
Yeah.
Yo, this movie is actually, it has a really cool plot.
Yeah.
Like, this movie has a fucking scarier plot
scary.
than Halloween. Yeah, Halloween is realistic. You got a fucking murderer walking around stalking babysitters with a fucking sharp ass butcher knife, killing dogs and teenagers.
I'm fine with that. He's doing it one by one, but mass is a whole different thing.
In this one, you got an old crazy toy maker in the middle of nowhere that has shipped out thousands upon thousands upon thousands of masks that have chips inside of the masks that have pieces of Stonehenge. I mean, it doesn't make a fucking lick of sense.
It's like the satellite thing.
Yeah, they're manufactured to kill the kids at the same time on Halloween night if they're all watching the same commercial and wearing the masks.
So they start programming this commercial before, and it starts telling kids, don't forget to wear your mask on Halloween night. We're going to do a contest or something, and you have to wear your mask and put it on in front of the TV and watch the commercial.
I mean, it's fucking bonkers. So you have this crazy old man who is plotting the genocide of all the children of the world.
Mind you, the man reminds me, or his voice at least reminds me of the guy that sings the song for Monster Mash.
Oh yeah, he kind of does.
He sounds exactly like him.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so this movie is it's got a lot going on. It kind of reminds me of Hansel and Gretel in a way too. You know what I mean, with the old man kind of being the witch.
The witch.
Yeah. And so other movies that came out in 1982 would be, Friday the 13th Part 3. And this is a plug for the pod that I did with Scotty a couple weeks ago to celebrate Friday the 13th. We reviewed Friday the 13th Part 3, so go check that out.
Yeah,
it was
it's
fun
really
with
good
horror.
episode.
And Poltergeist and The Thing. Creepshow, Visiting Hours, Amityville 2. There's like 20 or 25 titles, I think, just scrolling alone. It was a pretty good year for horror. And I don't think that they even thought that more sequels were going to follow after this. It was going to be, I think, 5 or 6 years, 6 years before we got Halloween 4. And that was when they brought Michael Myers back.
It's crazy that you mentioned Poltergeist, and we want to go visit Heather O'Rourke's.
Oh yeah, we went to go the Westwood Memorial Cemetery the other day.
Cool.
And Heather O'Rourke is buried there.
From Poltergeist, the little girl.
Yeah, it's a really quiet little hole in the wall cemetery. I wanted to point out, someone on a Reddit had mentioned that Michael Myers could also be the product of the Silver Shamrock Company, because he's unkillable.
Well, I'm going to go with the theory that the mask that he puts on was created from the Silver Shamrock, and there's a chip still.
Oh, yeah. What a crazy good chip. One. Yeah, you had mentioned that. I forgot. That's fucking wild. If anybody has any theories about Michael Myers and the whole Silver Shamrock scenario, please let us know.
Because I'm just lingering around the idea that these were anthologies, and this just kind of opened the window to
it. You know, it's so weird. Like, we keep getting like all these rehashes of Halloween and like what they could have done with Laurie Strode and like remakes and blah fucking blah. Like, come on, like give us a spinoff of this. Like, give us like a fucking like television series of this. Like,
or at least like during the opening scene of Halloween, one of the movies, have one of the kids walk around with the masks from Halloween 3.
Well, you know, in Halloween 2018, there are trick-or-treaters. It's a very like blink and miss it type of thing, but they are there. And then in Halloween Kills,
you gotta show me.
Yeah, I will. So okay, cool. Alex has maybe not seen those movies. Have you seen the new trilogy?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's directed by the same director of The Exorcist, Believer.
Well, then let's watch.
Okay, we'll have to watch it.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch it. And
we still have a few days.
Really
still have a few days.
I love me some facts.
Okay, speaking of facts, Alex, I think this is a good time to segue into some facts about...
Oh, yes, you guys, let's do this.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Okay, so written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace.
Who also wrote and... well, no, he didn't write, but he directed the miniseries of It from 1990.
Let's do it.
And he was also involved in Halloween 1. He was, I think, the set designer or art department or something like that. I'm not sure.
Very cool.
And he directed Fright Night Part 2. Go ahead.
Oh, nice. Fright Night. Produced by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter, of course. Mm-hmm. Stars Tom Atkins, Stacey Nelkin, Dan O'Early.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Like that, right? Michael Curry, Ralph Straight, and the cinematography is by Dean Cundy.
That's why I feel like I'm watching a Halloween movie. He did the cinematography of Halloween 1 and 2, and it's very evident is because the cinematography is very similar.
Yeah.
If not like strikingly similar to the first two films.
You can definitely point some out, like some little shots like that. Like and there's that scene where the guy that dies in the hospital in the opening scene of the movie, the alien guy, I'm just going to call him alien robot guy. He walks in through the hospital hallway, and it's like a straight shot of Michael Myers' legs. Like it looks just like Michael Myers walking, you know.
And that was what I was gonna say. Either I'm sorry to interrupt you again. Mm-hmm. The men in gray, which we'll also get to, they're very shape-like. They're very much like Michael Myers.
Yeah. The shape, boogeyman. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, where was I?
Music.
So music by John Carpenter and Alan Haworth. Oh, we had already mentioned they did the same music for Christine.
Fucking spectacular.
1983.
John Carpenter is a fucking demon.
When was Christine released? 86, 83?
Oh no,
I think it was 83.
Like 80, 81,
something
80.
like that.
Yeah, it's
so. Anyways, it's kind of cool that they all like fall in line like that, and they kind of just. I'm
83.
It's 83. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, if you look at the opening scene to Christine, or even like when she like gets all weird and like the lights go on, it's the same noise that they make for the scene when the guy's being chased. And
100%. John Carpenter has like a signature lick to him when it comes to his music.
Released October 22nd, 1982. Almost a birthday coming up.
Oh no, it just had a birthday.
Is it? Oh,
yeah,
you're
did,
right.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh my gosh, we're so close to Halloween. Budget of $4.6 million. Box office of $14.4 million is the lowest performing Halloween film.
Which is funny because I think it came in like number 9 or something. But
yeah,
like it made double its money back. It's not any worse, I don't think, than Halloween 5. And that movie has fucking Michael Myers. And also it's no fucking worse. Well, no, I think that Halloween Resurrection is, but you know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, honestly. Well, you know what? IMDb score of 5.1 out of 10 is okay. I mean, at least it's up to 5.
It's half, yeah.
Yeah, at least it's up to 5. So Rotten Tomatoes have a 50% audience, 50% on it, sorry. Audience score of 28%. For Metacritic, I have 5.9 user score out of 127 reviews.
Okay. And I think that, going back to it being number 9 in the box office, it opened against First Blood,
Yeah,
which is like a
movie.
And so,
well, there goes to show that action will always beat horror in some way.
I mean, it's just like you have to look at like the audience.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that word of mouth got out that Michael wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
And people were like, no.
Yeah, but separate yourself, like we said, separate Michael from the movie, and you guys, it's a complete different movie than what you remember.
Yeah, you really have to. And like, okay, so let's just get into the plot. I'm actually kind of excited to talk about it now that we have let ourselves into it. So now, a warning, we are going to slash up and bleed out Halloween 3 season of The Motherfucking Witch. So now is your warning. If you have not seen the movie, go check it out. We've already kind of spoiled a lot of it anyway.
Yeah.
Alex, are you ready to talk about
I'm
H3?
so ready.
Cool.
You guys don't even watch it. Just listen to this podcast and you'll be good. And then go watch it, really.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't really know much about Halloween. Halloween. The barriers will be down between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red. Halloween, the children.
You happen to know anything about this Cochran?
All I can tell you, mister, is watch out. He's watching you, friend, I guarantee you that.
Trick or treat, trick or treat.
Hey, Mr. Cochran, just what is the final process?
Fellas, I was just kidding.
Unless it was a way of controlling our environment.
Hey!
Where are they taking her?
They're taking her to the factory.
I want a mask. Can I have a mask?
Just what I had in mind for you, little buddy. Why, Cochran? Why? Do I need a reason?
I've got nothing here to indicate there was ever a body at all.
Operator, this is an emergency.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it.
You've got to believe me!
They're going to kill us. All of us.
Stop it!
Happy Halloween.
Stop it!
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, the night no one comes home.
Season of the Witch.
Halloween 3 Season of the Witch goes like this. We open in Northern California under a freeway. It's Saturday, the 23rd of October, and I'm just going to say right away that I hate it when movies do like a countdown like this.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like it really like the lead on, the leading on to the day of is like, we get it. Okay.
Yeah, like you don't have to tell me that it's literally 7 days before Halloween.
Like I just want to know Halloween 31st. That's it.
Yeah, you could have done the entire movie and then on the last 20 minutes been like, today's Halloween.
It all could have been done on the 29th or the 31st. I mean, on the 30th, and then just give me Halloween Day.
100%. A man, Harry Gambridge, played by Al Berry, is running from a car. The music is kicking from the very, very get-go, which is fucking great. I love the soundtrack, like I already said. And while hiding, the man is attacked by a weirdo in a gray suit. The man kills him by crushing him to death with another vehicle and escapes.
Super cool how he does that. Like, who even thinks of this while you're going through this?
It's fucking gnarly the way that he dies. And I can't even describe it the way that it actually happens, but it's cool the way that they film it. Yeah. And it's already a totally different Halloween movie. Like, so just keep that in mind. The opening of this movie is completely different. And I love the setting of the junkyard. Like you just don't get this kind of.
They're running under the freeway. That's already scary.
Yeah. Like it starts off like kind of ominous and weird. And again, the music just contributes in like a really good way. There are people after him. Like I mentioned, men in gray suits. There's thunder, there's lightning. We get a title card saying that an hour has passed. We're at a gas station. There's an attendant named Walter, played by Essex Smith. He is watching a documentary about Stonehenge, which will come into play later. We see a commercial for a mask company called Silver Shamrock with an incredibly catchy and annoying jingle to go along with it, telling us that there are 8 more days until Halloween. But don't worry, because we're going to get a countdown every fucking day until Halloween.
Yeah, this is when we first see it playing in the background, but we don't pay attention to the song.
Yeah, no, but don't worry, you don't have to pay attention because this song is
not out to get you yet.
Oh, but it will get you. Walter hears a noise and, upon investigating, discovers Harry, who is clutching one of the Silver Shamrock masks, claiming they're coming. He falls into a coma. Walter calls for help, and Harry is taken away. Suited men watching as he is taken.
2 hours later. Almost 2 hours
2 hours later. Elsewhere, Dr. Daniel Chalice, played by Daddy Tom Atkins. Okay, everyone loves Tom Atkins in the horror community. Yeah, like he's like this studly, like already kind of older gentleman. Like he's probably like what, in his like late 30s, early 40s, maybe even older. He would later go on to be in Night of the Creeps and The Fog. He was already in The Fog at this point, which is probably why he was added to cast in this movie.
Yeah.
And he
just looks like he knows how to set up a campsite.
Yeah, like he's like a manly man. I think he did like construction.
We were going to survive with him.
Yeah. He's a handsome guy, I guess.
I mean, I trust him.
I would trust him, I think. Not as a doctor, which is what he plays in this movie. Anyway, he makes a stop to visit his 2 children he shares with his ex-wife, played by Nancy Keys or Loomis, who you would recognize from Halloween's 1 and 2 as Laurie Strode's best friend, Annie. They clearly hate each other. And clearly, Chalice is not a present father and has a drinking problem and chooses his job over his family. And clearly, I'm going to hate this fucking song before the end of the movie because we are hearing it again already.
But also, he brought these cheesy masks. We don't want those.
Oh, yeah. And those are the masks that the mom gave.
Yeah, the mom had already bought those masks because she's just a superhero. She doesn't need no man in her life.
And we are already presented with the fact that they are either separated or divorced and do not like each other.
Yeah.
And
she says, alcohol and doctor, great combination.
Yeah, Dad's a deadbeat. We love this. And the way that the kids look at their mom, at their mom when she tells them to turn the song down, like the way that they both like kind of like turn, it's so fucking creepy. And dude, the masks are scary.
Yeah, they are.
Do you think so? Like, I know that 2 of them already existed. I think the witch and the skull already existed, and it's the pumpkin.
They just have so much depth. Like the skull has like so much depth in it. Like you could actually see. Yeah, they're really creepy. They're scary.
Yeah. The pumpkin is the one that they created specifically for the movie, and it's weird because the pumpkin is like so simple.
One, they introduce us as the enemy.
Yeah. So Chalice goes to the hospital after getting paged about Harry. He's under the care of a nurse named Agnes, played by Maidie Norman, when he is murdered by one of the men in gray who sneak into his room. Now, this is another classic example of a horror movie hospital where there are 0 patients and 0 doctors. They're all at the Haddonfield Hospital waiting room of Halloween Kills. Which you haven't seen, and I guess you wouldn't understand.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this is the shot that I'm telling you where the guy does that Michael Myers walk through the hallway.
Yeah. No, if he was in the Michael Myers suit, like, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, these men in gray are so effective. And again, it's not what you'd expect from a Halloween movie. You know, it's so different. And
we're still waiting for Michael, though.
And we should talk about the way that Harry dies. Like, it is so brutal. So for those of you who have seen, you know, the first 2 Halloween films, like they're pretty violent, but they're bloodless. You know, I know Halloween 2 has like a significant amount of blood, but
yeah. Also, right before the death scene, there's a little grab ass between the doctor and the nurse. I don't know if you ever noticed.
Yeah, Dr. Chalice is kind of a slut.
Oh yeah, he is. You'll find that out.
Yeah, as I was saying, he pokes his fucking eyes out. Like this man in gray grabs him with his index finger and his middle finger, and he jabs them into his eyes, and you can like hear his fucking brain break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the noise is unreal. And then he wipes his hands on the hospital curtain and then, you know, scares the shit out of the nurse.
Yeah, the nurse walks in until you hear her scream is when you realize what he really, like the damage that he did.
Yeah, it's fucking brutal. And so Agnes calls for Chalice, who chases down the man in gray who killed Harry, and he goes into the parking lot and he gets into his car, and the man in gray immolates himself.
Just explodes.
Which is super fucking horrific.
Yeah, I didn't think he had to do that. It wasn't necessary.
Well, yeah, and at this point you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is like so cultish and weird, and I love how suddenly there are people. There's like 4 or 6 people who come out of the woodwork to check out the explosion when there was just nobody in this hospital. Like, what the fuck is going on? You have no idea what's happening in this movie. I feel so bad for poor Agnes. This poor nurse is just here to like do her job.
That's Agnes working a night shift.
Yeah, and she just is like screaming. Have you seen Hook? You've seen Hook.
Of course.
You know the part where the parents come home and the kids have been kidnapped and poor Liza is in the hallway and she's like, the children were screaming. That's what this part reminds me of. Yeah, it's so sad. Okay. The next morning, Chalice calls his ex and says he can't pick up the kids. He notices the jack-o'-lantern mask and the peculiar button thingy on the back of it. I'm noticing Tom Atkins is wearing a heavy amount of eyeliner. And, no, I mean, honestly.
Yeah, no, really.
He is wearing a heavy amount of eyeliner in this film. And I'm not sure why, but it's a little distracting. And I don't know if it's the 4K transfer, but maybe back in the 80s.
It's pretty.
He's a pretty guy.
Outstanding eyes.
Oh, okay. The next morning, Harry's daughter Ellie, played by Stacy. What's her name? I have a different name written down for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not Stacy. Is it Nelkins?
Nelkins is the last name.
Oh, Stacy Nelkin.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. No, you were right. Yeah, you
Stacy
have
Nelkin. Yeah,
Nelkin. Stacy. Prepared. Be prepared. Harry's daughter Ellie, played by Stacy Nelkin, arrives at the hospital to identify the body. And just so y'all know, this is Wednesday the 27th because we care. Chalice visits the assistant of the hospital, Teddy, played by. Oh, y'all hear that? Airplane that's dropping in on the apartment. On Wednesday the 27th, Chalice visits Teddy, the assistant of the hospital, played by Wendy Westberg, who tells Chalice that the man who immolated himself is literally all ashes and pieces. Something is weird about it. She agrees to do some digging. Chalice goes to the bar where on television, this is where we get the little glimpse of Michael Myers. For those who think that he doesn't appear in this movie, you are wrong.
And all it does for you is just reminds you where you were at when this movie came out because it's just the trailer for it.
Yeah, it's literally just the trailer. So far, do you think that Michael Myers is needed though? So far in this movie, like knowing that
it wouldn't make sense here.
But like knowing that it has the title Halloween.
It wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't, right? Like,
no. I feel like this could have been like an extension of Dr. Loomis while he's dealing with some other
like this could like they could have sprinkled like Halloween isms throughout this movie. Like this could have been Haddonfield Memorial.
Like this couldn't be a hospital where they take the first guy where they take him to the hospital. It could have been like, this guy's a loony. He's seeing what everybody's seeing. And it could have been like this hospital full of loonies where everybody's seeing the same thing, but they're right. They are here to kill us.
Yeah, there's a lot that they could have done to make it a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
But I think that the plot alone works by itself perfectly fine. And I don't think that we need Michael Myers. But I mean, if Michael Myers was walking around killing people in this hospital, fucking fine. You know?
Take the Halloween 3 out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly my point.
That's it.
I'm doing okay with everything so far, man.
Season of the Witch is perfect.
Exactly. Ellie meets Daddy Tom at the bar, and they decide that the activity is suspicious enough for there to be further investigation. They decide to go to Santa Mira, where they make the silver shamrock masks, because Harry was involved with them during his last few weeks. Chalice ditches his kids again, and they head to Santa Mira.
You know, that name silver Santa Mira, as the place where the company, the silver shamrock is at.
Do you know why?
No.
That's where Invasion of the Body Snatchers took place.
Or is it a real town?
It's a fictional town, but that's the name of the town from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's really cool.
Yeah, which is kind of like a similar. It has similar plot themes.
I like the name. It's like really cool,
like taking over type of shit. Yeah, it is really neat. He going back to Chalice though, he is the worst father of the year. Yeah, and honestly, like
he's good at everything else for everybody else.
But what does he have to do with any of this? You know, he has no right to be involved with any of this shit. Like, he's a drunk looking for excuses to bang it out with Lil Mama. Like,
it's up until his daughter, which she totally gives me freaking... Oh my gosh, and you're going to love this. Oh my gosh, what's your girl's name?
She has such a weird nose. Elizabeth Berkley?
She gives me Elizabeth Berkley. Like, ever since I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, she's Elizabeth Berkley.
Yo, remake Season of the Witch. Cast my girl Elizabeth. I'm going to bring this up to her.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The next time I see her, I'm going to bring this up to her.
Who would be the Doctor?
I don't care.
Ben Affleck.
Why do we want to cast Ben Affleck in everything right now? What were we talking about
right now? I guess
we do a lot of like fantasy football, but with like
he's supposed
movies.
to be Britney Spears' dad.
Yes, because we were casting the Britney Spears life
it's
story.
Gonna happen.
Who was playing Britney? Millie Bobby Brown was playing Britney. Drew Barrymore's producing. Who was playing the mom? Oh fuck.
Oh my gosh, it was somebody good.
It was somebody real good that we wouldn't have expected.
We'll tell you in the next podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure it. But Ben Affleck was playing the dad.
Yeah.
But
the mom was good.
The mom was really good, and we were like, oh, and nobody would expect it.
Yeah, and then the sister. Oh, we don't have a sister.
We didn't have the sister. We didn't plan that far ahead. Okay, whatever. We're sidetracking.
Yes, sorry. Santa Mira.
Santa Mira. I do love Santa Mira, though.
They would live in Santa Mira.
The location. They would live in Santa Mira. Santa Mira.
And it would be Wednesday the 27th.
Oh yeah, we're Wednesday the 27th.
Okay.
No, but I do love the locations though. The location is fucking perfect for this movie, and it's so John Carpenter. John Carpenter locations are always like spot on. Like it reminds me of Village of the Damned, which would not come out until 1995, and John Carpenter would remake that movie. That's the 1995 version.
These hospitals are all look the same.
Yeah, they 100% do.
Yeah.
Cameras are set up all over this place, so we know from the get-go that something's off with Santa Mira. Silver Shamrock Novelties is a huge warehouse. Ellie wants a plan to feel more secure, so they decide to check into the local motel and pose as husband and wife and tour the local factory later. And also, did someone explain the whole Irish thing? Or did I miss it? Is it just like the Silver Shamrock thing?
Well,
is that
you know
why?
what? I think they actually do explain it from when the
Celtic thing?
The company was sold. It used to be it used to be something else, but then it got sold into this toy store that it is now.
Okay, I thought that I had like missed something, or anyway. Okay,
I believe that's what it is. It used to be like something else, then it got sold into this toy store. Which I missed that part where he was explaining. But it's when they're driving into the town of Mira.
I see.
Santa Mira.
Chalice runs to the front desk and sees that Harry, Ellie's dad, was at this motel a week or so prior. He signs in. A limo drives by with a mysterious Mr. Cochran inside. The motel clerk refers to him as a genius. Cochran is the one who has created Silver Shamrock. We're then introduced to Buddy, Betty, and Buddy Jr., an all-American family who show up via RV. They're staying at the motel too, along with a woman named Marge, who works at a mask company.
Mind you, these folks think they got the golden ticket and they're going to go see Willy Wonka.
Yeah, and the family in the RV, they are played by Brad Schachter, Jadine Barber, and Ralph Straight. They're like, I think that the dad he's like an employee of the Silver Shamrock companies in like a different state, and he has sold all the masks, the most masks in the entire country. And so he and his family have been invited to like take a tour of the factory.
Like Edward Scissorhands Avon.
Yeah. Avon calling. There's a 6 p.m. curfew in Santa Mira, and I love the shot of the closing up.
Curfew movies.
I know, it just gives you that weird, that weird.
That name Santa Mira, and it has a curfew at 6 p.m. You guys.
Yeah, and I love the part where it's that montage of like the town just closing up, and everybody close your doors, and then you see the guy like grab his kitten from the front porch.
Up until those chicks from To Wong Fu show up.
Strawberries are red.
Well, what happens at the strawberry
What
festival?
do strawberries say to you? Yeah, it just reminds you of the town that dreaded sundown. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, so the cameras are scanning all night. They're very intense. Chalice leaves the Shamrock store after buying a bunch of booze because he's a liquored up kind of dude. He runs into a vagrant who tells him that, there's a lot going on that we don't know about. There's a little bit too much info that he spills about Cochran. I quote, "He made Santa Mira what it is today," bringing in people from the outside. Big brother shit, Yeah. He tells Chalice there have been rumors about weird things going on inside the Shamrock factory, but seems too drunk to divulge any further. I don't even know why Chalice is entertaining this wacko. I don't bother with any of the, the transients on the street because usually it doesn't get me anywhere.
Yeah.
And the fact that he gave him a drink out of his bottle, like, oh my God. And when he walks away, he has his own booze.
Yeah, he does.
Motherfucker.
Never even offered it back.
I couldn't even believe it. And the zing of music when the flashlight comes into the homeless guy's face.
I'm telling you, that's like Christine when the lights go on.
Yeah, the music, you guys. The music. And this particular moment with the men in gray is so fucking sick. Alex, what do they do?
Oh yeah. So this part, they do an Eiffel Tower on him.
Yeah.
They give him a good old Eiffel Tower.
They Eiffel Tower him. And for the children at home, explain to them what Eiffel Tower means.
The Eiffel Tower is one is positioned in front, one is positioned in the back. The third person is in the middle, positioned down to his knees, facing the front person. Well, they grab his head and they just pull it off his body.
Gory gays.
Only this is the, what is it? The town of mirrors. This is what happened. This is their Eiffel Tower.
The town of Santa
Out here in
Maria.
West Hollywood, it's a whole different concept.
Yeah, holy shit. I don't think we know it yet, but something is up with the strength of these men in gray. And if you think that Michael Myers has it, like the men in gray have it going on too.
Yeah.
Come on. Like this is pretty they literally rip a guy's head off with their bare fucking
They're scary.
hands.
I mean, this guy stuck his fingers into somebody's eyeballs all the way down to his brain.
And broke his brain.
Wiped
They
his
broke
hands
it.
in the damn hospital.
It's bonkers. So back at the motel, Ellie meets Marge Garn Stevens officially, and they discuss the Shamrock masks. While inside her motel room, Marge snuggles up in bed to read. Chalice gets an update from Teddy on the ashes. He then goes back to the room that he's sharing with Ellie to be too old for her.
I know.
He's so old. He's so old for her. What an awkwardly choreographed love scene. Did he suck her nipple?
Yes, he did.
Did he straight up suck her nipple?
Yes, he
Because
did.
I read that she had like a no nipple clause in her contract. But is it because
But I mean, it's freaking Tom Atkins.
it was in his mouth?
He wants that beard on it.
But dude, like all the ladies fucking love Tom Atkins. It's so weird. And are you ready for it? This is about the 40th time we have heard "Ain't my day to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween."
Well, what is it now? 5 days? 3 more days?
Oh my god.
It's the 27th, so 28, 29, 30, 31. 4 more days. 4 more days.
We're
to
4 more days
Halloween.
currently until Halloween, which fucking... Oh, you know what? This is a good time. I want to give out a sincere, wonderful shout out to one of my old friends, Lonnie.
And also really wonderful supporter.
And he is such a supporter of our podcast. Lonnie Olson, I have known since fucking middle school. We were in choir class together. He sang a solo during one of our choir concerts of God Must Have Spent a Little More Time on You. I sang a solo for As Long As You Love Me from the Backstreet Boys. It was during the same choir concert. We were always in choir together throughout high school. Like, he's always been a really good friend. He has like the most special love for horror movies, just like I do. We text quite often, like just like exchanges of memes and gifs of horror movies. He loves Halloween. I told him that we were going to be reviewing one of the Halloween movies. I don't think I told him which one. And I just wanted to tell Lonnie how much we love him for just being such a great listener of the pod. And so thank you, Lonnie. Thank you so much.
I don't think he has a bad choice. I think every movie we pick, he absolutely support us.
Yeah, I think, well, you know, just like us, he has a taste for the strange and unusual. Yes. So Lonnie, thank you so much, man. Thank you for sticking with us, because he was a big supporter for Standy Boy Reviews as well, and he always shared my videos, and he always he always stuck up for me. So
go Lonnie.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah. So yeah, we are reminded that Tom Atkins is 300 years old when Ellie wakes him up at 3 a.m. to bone, and he's too tired. In the other room, Marge. Oh, and this is a fun fact. That's his wife.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, his real
that was
wife.
His wife in real life. So here he is, the actor Tom Atkins is fucking it out with Stacey Nelkin,
which it wasn't necessary. There was no point for that.
There was no reason for them to.
They didn't have to be husband and wife.
Yeah, like even if they're like faking it in in the movie, like there's no reason for them to like fuck. You know what I mean? They don't even have to be love interests. They could have just been like investigating. But yeah, like that was his wife in real life. The woman.
You know what it is though?
What?
There's no naked teens in this movie, so they have.
Oh, you know what? That's another thing that I kind of like admire about this movie is that it's like all adults.
Yeah,
like we're getting like an all adult movie about like adults experiencing kind of silly stuff that they take really seriously. Yeah. You know, like I kind of dig that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Marge is still reading in the other room, and she's about to turn the lights out when she notices that little chip that goes with the Shamrock masks, and she sticks one of her hairpins in it. And what happens, Alex?
She gets fried in the most horrific way that can possibly be displayed on a movie or television for you to see. This is traumatic. It is traumatic.
It's so fucked up.
I mean, her mouth splits open. Her eyes are fried. They're like glossy. They look like when fish die, or like fish eyes, even kind of like just glossy, blurry eyes. It's gross.
Oh, it's bad, you guys. And we have to look up who did the special effects, because I don't think I wrote it down.
What the most haunting part of it is all?
Which part?
When her feet twitch.
Oh, I wrote that down in my notes. There's a lot
of shit out of me.
There's a lot of feet twitch.
But that happened in the hospital too, and his eyes got poked out. His hand twitched. His hand, and then like her feet twitched.
But his feet twitched too. And everybody that you see get murdered in this movie, their feet fucking go nuts. It's like a final
twitch. It's disgusting, you guys. It's traumatizing.
Yeah, it's really bad, and they call it a misfire. So this is where things. Alex was saying, the mask shoots a laser into her mouth, and her face fucking erupts, and then a bug crawls out of it, and
a potato bug.
Yeah,
it's a potato bug. Which when we were kids, they used to tell us that they were poisonous, deadly, and they look like the children, the devil's children.
And maybe it fucking is. Who knows? Like it's disgusting. And I didn't say my relationship with this movie earlier. I used to walk around the video store. I think that this was probably one of the first Halloween films that I came into contact with, like as far as like VHS goes. And I would pick up the cover. I would just be fascinated with like the look of it, but I would never rent it because I knew that it was the Halloween that didn't have Michael Myers. So I would just like stray away from it, much like everybody else. So I didn't watch this movie for the first time until the pandemic. I wasn't terribly impressed with it, but when we decided to review it, I watched it again, obviously. And that part with Marge and the whole face thing with the mask, like, fuck me, dude. What the fuck?
Not only that, but you had mentioned that the cover art you always weren't a fan of because it's that Arizona shot where
it's that shot of the
witch
Arizona,
and the skull and the pumpkin are walking through the sunset.
Trick or treating, yeah.
And it's not even a great background. It's like, I mean, power towers in the back.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird.
It's really good though, the sunset. But
I love the montage of the trick or treaters on Halloween. Yeah, it's so fucking cool. But I did not expect. Even when I watched it during the pandemic, I not knowing a lot about what this movie was about, for it to go the route that it went, the weird science fiction fucking lasers in the mouth.
This is good this is tolerable science fiction.
Yeah, it's super tolerable, yeah. And I know that it doesn't relate at all, but it kind of reminded me of, like, the way that they use bugs and stuff in this movie just reminded me of the way that Children of the Corn 3 went.
Oh.
And everyone knows how much I love the Children of the Corn movies. I made Alex watch Children of the Corn 3.
Yeah.
Bugs and a head, like, kind of come into play. And if you guys haven't seen that... check it out. Anyway,
this is like, this makes Killer Clowns look like a cartoon.
Yeah, and again, like Killer Clowns is totally cartoony.
It's creepy in its own ways too. Like it has its own like traumatizing kills.
Yeah, like I can see like if this was the first Halloween movie you saw, this being super fucking scary for you. Like, and so killer. I can see why this was like a movie that was like a repetitive viewing for you during the Halloween season as a kid. So, did anyone who has never seen this movie, like if this was a first time watch for you, did any of you expect this to go the way that it went? Like for a first time watch, I would love to know. I'm sure Alex would love to know.
Or were you just waiting for Michael to come around the corner?
I mean, like, yeah. Okay. Cochran arrives at the motel to ensure that Marge is taken away to get the very best possible treatment, which is at the factory. I guess there's emergency treatment there or something, and I guess this is a factory town. He mentioned something like that earlier, so it's a thing or something. Yeah. They want to leave, but not until Ellie finds out if Harry went to the factory or not. The next morning, which is, you guessed it, Saturday, the 30th.
Are we there yet?
We're not. Chalice touches base with Teddy again, who never leaves her post at the hospital, and she is still sifting through the ashes. There are no bone fragments in the ashes, nothing to indicate that there was a person involved in the car explosion from earlier in the film. Chalice asks Teddy for info on Cochran. Note, Chalice is a fucking whore. Because it turns out, I mean, like, I'm getting the idea that he is also sleeping with.
No, he's getting Teddy phone calls as well at the same time.
Yeah, so here he is boinking it out with Ellie, and he is also promising dinner dates with Teddy, the morgue lady, and in real life, his wife is sleeping right next door.
Yeah.
Did you get the impression that the desks are bugged?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was getting to.
Because they come after her.
And yeah. Did you notice, and this is something that I should have mentioned earlier, the son, Tom Atkins' son, is played by Joshua Miller, a baby Joshua Miller.
No way.
He's the little brother from Teen Witch.
That's super cool.
And he is a big homosexual now, so yay, Gory gays. That's crazy. But he was part of the Pussy Posse from the mid-90s with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire. And I didn't learn about the Pussy Posse until like much later in life, but he's a part of that, which is so funny because he's a big fucking homo. So Chalice and Ellie go to the factory to ask questions, and that's when they come across Buddy and Betty and Buddy Jr. again. We discover Buddy is a salesman who has sold the most masks in the country, like I mentioned earlier.
So the Willy Wonkas.
Oh, yeah. Chalice and Ellie pose as Mr. and Mrs. Smith. and are offered a tour of the factory with Buddy and his family. And this is the most boring tour ever.
Purposely, I believe, right?
Yeah, I mean, I fucking hate it.
They're not trying to overshow.
And speaking of Willy Wonka, I'm not expecting a Willy Wonka like tour or anything like that, but fucking A, dude. I love the outcome of the way that these masks all look, but this is fucking lame.
Yeah, and they kind of show us the whole process, like the molding and how they actually remake the masks.
Yeah. And but Cochran though, what do we think of Cochran? Like,
he's the guy that sings the Monster Mash.
Yeah, like I know he's a bad guy already, but like, do we get the idea?
No,
like,
he's creepy as shit.
Yeah,
like, first
we
intro
know
to
he's
him,
the villain.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. When they take the Marge from the hotel, he's like, "Oh, don't worry, we're gonna take her to the facility. She'll be fine."
Yeah.
Then he approaches one of his guys. And he's like, well, "What happened?"
Yeah.
But Tom Atkins is in the background, like listening, like, "What does he mean? What happened?"
Yeah,
her face is fried.
He's got that really just villainous face.
Yeah, you automatically know he is the bad guy.
Evil in human form. But we find out that he was once a respected toy maker, and Buddy Jr. is given a special jack-o'-lantern mask, one that has been sent through the, quote, final processing, something we're not allowed to see because of deadly chemicals and other bullshit. During the tour, Chalice realizes they're being watched from all corners by the men in gray suits. And as they're leaving, Ellie finds Harry's car in one of the garages. And that's when Cochran says, "Trade secrets." And then he has that look on his face and it's fucking disgusting. Yeah. Chalice and Ellie go back to the motel to pack their bags. Chalice leaves Ellie to call the police. And while doing so, we don't see it, but Ellie is taken away. Yeah, the part where he calls the police and can't get through. That's one of my biggest nightmares. And I feel like that I've actually had nightmares about that, where you're like trying to call someone and you can't get through. You're trying to call someone and you can't get through. It's kind of like back in the Trick or Treat episode we discussed. You're about like the girl running through the alley.
Oh yeah, the what is it? My best version that I think everybody will understand is "I Know What You Did Last Summer" with Sarah.
Yeah,
Michelle
that's
Gellar
the Trick or Treat thing. I was
in the alley.
Yeah,
and, like, she's almost there, but like they just kill her.
Yeah, and that's like when we realize that the desks are bugged, like, and that these people are like fucked. Like you're in like a town that is like completely manipulated to fuck other people, and that is so fucking scary. And going back to the invasion of the body snatchers as well. This is the whole section too where it feels like a Halloween movie. Going back to Dean Cundy's cinematography. With the Jamie Lee Curtis chase scene. This is Tom Atkins running through the streets. It's got the same exact camera work. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting, and it kind of solidifies Tom Atkins as the final boy. This kind of reminded me, to bring up Alaska again, Santa Mira reminds me of Juneau. You know what I mean? Like it just
the small town, like the actual little small town street.
Yeah, just no one out at like a certain time.
Yeah,
it's just dead cute. Ghost town. And yeah, cute.
Like, I wonder where this town, what is it really?
We have to find out. I'm sure it's in Northern California.
Because I saw a shot earlier when he had walked out of that store that the father owned, which I always thought growing up was a hardware store, and now we find out it's like a general store, which kind of means the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure they're very similar.
They do that sky shot when he walks out of there, and the town looks super cute. Like, it just looks like the nicest town. I want to know where it's at.
Yeah, I
love small towns.
We should have looked that up. Chalice continues his run through the empty town, being chased by people. The zings of music are so good, like when the lights are turning on and off and stuff. Oh, also, which mask is your favorite? I meant to ask you.
My mask is probably the witch.
The witch is my favorite too. I think the witch is definitely
comes with
my
a cape,
favorite.
like with a hood.
We went to Monsterpalooza back in June, and we got some Halloween decorations back then to prepare for this. And
I didn't even realize.
Where are they? I'm like looking around the apartment. Oh, I see them. Okay, they're so fucking cool.
Yeah, they really are.
So fucking neat.
It's all season of the witch Halloween decor that we picked out because we were like, we just love the classic look of the Halloween. They really captured like the look of the masks. The
like we didn't even
witch.
realize back then that we were going to be doing a podcast, let alone talking about this movie. So it's kind of funny.
Nothing else is decorated. Did you notice?
Yeah.
It's literally just the masks that represent Halloween in this whole film.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Nothing else is there's no fall leaves. There's no pumpkins in the stairs. There's nothing.
Yeah, ours is the only one.
I mean, in the movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our apartment.
No, in the movie.
That's so funny.
Like the masks are the only thing relative to Halloween. There's like no actual decor that says Halloween or nothing.
Yeah.
The entire movie.
Oh, that's funny. I never really realized that. Oh, interesting. Okay. The scariest part of this whole film to me is the part where Chalice walks in to that room and he sees that what we think is an old woman. And she's knitting and she's like kind of rocking back and forth. And he's like, where's the girl? Where is she? and then the head falls off,
Why
and
would she
we
ask
find
her?
out that it's a mannequin.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Why the fuck would he ask
Why
her?
would you ask her?
But 100% that's the scariest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's fucking frightening. Like the
Well,
music,
to
and
me
it's
is
just
when she
approaching
gets
her.
her face fried.
She get what?
When Marge gets her face fried is the most frightening, traumatizing. But this other lady sitting down, you're right. This does have
Just
like a lot of
because I feel like that up until he approaches her, it's an actual person. And then when he like goes to her and her head falls off, clearly it's like a dummy. And then we find out that it's a toy, and it was.
And
like
I think
a
this is
really
where we're
expensive
finding
toy.
out that they're robots or some type of
And that's
mannequin.
you're
robot,
right. That's when we find out that the men in gray are actually droids,
Mhm.
and they've been invented by not Chalice. They've been invented by Cochrane, and he's created all of them. We find out because Chalice is attacked by a man in gray, and Chalice punches his hand through the man in gray's stomach, and he pulls out all these cords and yellow goo. And
it's gross.
Now we're in a fucking actual sci-fi movie.
It's disgusting, the goo that comes out of them.
Yeah, we were.
these sophisticated conspirators, and they get killed, and it's disgusting.
Yeah,
the way they
I
die.
like that. Sophisticated conspirators. But guess what? Now it's Sunday, October 31st.
Yes,
we're
there.
officially in a fucking Halloween movie.
La, 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 la.
La, 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 la,
Wait,
la,
that's
la.
another song, right?
London Bridges. Oh,
Wait.
that's what it is. Holy shit. London
you're right.
Bridges falling down, falling down.
No,
Halloween vibe. But
We're like
it's
losing
the
it.
same
5
song.
more days till Halloween.
Yeah, but
you're
I didn't fucking realize that it was London Bridge until just
Why?
now. What a fucking dummy.
Okay.
Okay.
And now it is.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 8 days now, though. So this started on the 22nd, right? Or the 23rd? I think we started on the 23rd.
Yes.
Okay. So Cochrane takes Chalice through the final process and explains to him that he stole a piece of Stonehenge and put a small piece of that in every microchip of each of the masks. And on Halloween night, at a particular time, I think it's 9 p.m., there's to be a big giveaway, and all of the kids that are wearing their masks and watching said giveaway, well, Alex, what do they get?
What do they get?
What
they have a name?
happened?
What they get?
Death.
I'm not sure, but yeah, they're gonna
Sudden
die.
death.
They're gonna watch this show. They're gonna stand in front of it. They're gonna bob their heads left and right, and they're gonna fry. Like they're gonna fry like Marge. Like like we see the family that the Willy Wonka family is the first ones that show us what happens to the kids.
The Willy Wonka family.
So the kid starts watching the family. The mom's in the back in a couch.
Oh wait, because is what happens to Marge? What happens to the kid underneath the mask?
I guess.
Oh fuck!
See,
I
because the
didn't even
chip
think
is
about
attached
that.
to the mask, but Marge finds the chip by itself.
And that's what happens to her.
She finds it in this hotel because the hotel is literally the Bates Motel, and the company is the Bates house right behind it, in theory.
Oh, fuck.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I never thought about that.
That's why did she find a chip in the motel? Well, that's why.
No, she found the chip in the mask because she's a mask or a salesperson.
Oh, the late Marge. No, she found it on the floor in the hotel.
No, but she is a mask. She dropped it. She's a mask salesperson.
Sorry, I must have blinked on that part.
No. She has the conversation very, very quickly with Ellie outside of the.
But when she's sitting, she's reading a Carlos Castaneda novel.
Oh,
she's sitting in the room,
but the mask is one of her own masks because she's selling the masks.
I see. So
which
Avon,
is why
Avon
she's there.
lady, Avon
precisely.
product. Okay, so her own product. So this bitch is snorting her own product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and so she's fucking with the chip because she was trying to figure out what it is.
It fell on the floor. She picks it up from the floor. She picks at it like you had said earlier.
Yeah.
She fries, and this is what happens to the little kid. And his mom's like right behind him, watching him. Like get away from the TV. You're too close. It's gonna be bad for your eyes. Whatever. I think that's what she says.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And he does it. He starts like grabbing his head and starts like, like kind of like when you have headphones on, you're like bopping out, rocking out to music. And he just fries and drops to the floor.
And it's creepy because he doesn't even realize what's happening at first. No. He's just sitting there for a second because, like you said, he's like all active. And then all of a sudden he's just sitting still. Yeah. And then he falls to the ground. And then all like these fucking bugs.
Bugs and snakes, guys.
A rattlesnake.
And these fucking snakes showed up to work. They showed up to work. These bitches were getting paid. Like, they showed up to work.
This snake fucking attacks the dad.
It comes after the dad. Like,
crawling on the mom. Like, everybody dies in this scene.
Yeah.
And and Halloween 2, we get that scene where the kid has the razor blades in his mouth, but he doesn't die. In Halloween 3, Tommy Lee Wallace kills this little boy, and it is glorious. Oh. It is so glorious. I love it. I love the death of a little boy.
Sacrifice these children wearing masks.
Yeah, that's what I meant by the genocide of little children. And that's what this witch man is doing. He plans to kill all these little kids with these masks.
See, and that's his point. He just wants to kill these kids with all these masks, just so he can revive the ancient ways of Halloween. And it's all his purpose, like the resurrection of Halloween.
Something of the sort. There's a way to explain it that he explains it, but it still didn't make.
It's in the beginning of the movie, like they show the whole handstone.
Yeah, I didn't fucking get it, but
because we're waiting for Michael. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's Michael?
He's not here.
Michael?
He's not home. Where are the keys? The keys. Anyway, I love the montage of the cities, like we talked about. The Phoenix shot's my favorite. Oh yeah. At the hospital, Teddy is killed by a gray suited man after figuring out that whatever burned up in that car explosion was not a person. Dude, there's a lot of like the feet kicking around and that's what we were talking about earlier. Like everybody fucking dies. And like
it's
when
that final twitch. Ugh,
yeah.
Gross.
And like Teddy gets it with a drill. So one of the men in gray is like coming at her with a power drill.
Yeah.
And that drill is coming so close to her face. They don't show it, but it's brutal.
Yeah,
like
did anybody chase you with a drill?
Not recently.
Watching this, like
I thought you said, did anybody ever chase you with a drill?
Yeah, like
Ryan Coe used to chase me around
with without
like,
even
knives.
Like, the little, tip in it, like just.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. Oh, there's a Ryan Coe. Ryan, there's your shout out.
Compliment.
There's your shout out. We gotta mention Ryan Coe in every episode. Cochran has Chalice tied up in a room with a television, preparing for the big giveaway. He leaves him with a skull mask that has a chip on it, and wait. What? Technically, this movie does have Jamie Lee Curtis in it because
it does have Jamie Lee Curtis, and this is an actual shot of the movie, not a trailer.
Yeah, because he leaves him with the TV inside because he wants him to watch the commercial with the big giveaway to die with the mask on.
Of course, we don't see her face; we just see Laurie Strode's walking up the stairs.
Yeah, so
but
technically,
we never
this
see her
is
face.
a film with Jamie Lee in it.
Hey,
interesting. Chalice escapes from his chair and climbs through the vents. He calls his ex to explain what's happening, but she doesn't believe him. And I forgot that his kids have the masks on, and if they wear them while they're watching it, that they're going to die. And that's a pretty mortifying idea.
It starts getting intense.
Yeah, it's bad.
You're at the edge of your seat by then.
Chalice finds Ellie strapped down to a table in a different room of the factory. He frees her, and they run amok in the factory, hiding behind boxes, trying not to be seen. He finds a box of microchips and scatters them from the rafters above, killing all of the employees.
Which is not Carrie, but what's her name? The one that threw the pig's blood?
Oh, Chris Hargison.
Yeah, he had his moment.
He had his
Chris moment.
He got his Chris moment.
Because he sprinkles the chips. This is really genius, though. He grabs a box of the silver shamrock chips in the back warehouse that he finds. He brings it up to the top catwalk of the warehouse that they're working in, and he just starts sprinkling all those chips down to these robots, and they just start 4th of July freaking sparklers everywhere, just flaring.
Oh, it's wild.
It's amazing, and it's so genius, the idea that he had to kill him. He literally kills all of them.
And I love it because Cochran is impressed.
Mm-hmm. He's impressed.
He is also killed by the surge from the Stonehenge gem.
Yeah.
And then the factory erupts into flames. And I love the shot of the mask spur.
The way Cochran disappears reminds me of those toys that they used to sell where they're like a lot of like little needles in it.
And you press your face into it.
Oh my gosh,
exactly.
No, that's exactly
because that's what I thought too. And I couldn't think of like what exactly.
Or was it the mold?
Maybe it is the mold. But I thought of what you were thought. And I also thought of Power Rangers. Zoltan? Isn't that his name?
I think so. Yeah, the bad guy.
No, not the bad guy. The good guy that they're always like going to first. Who's like sending them on the missions.
The face, right?
Yeah.
Like, Is that his name? Zoltar. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know something.
It's something like that. It's some Golton.
Gold.
Listeners,
somebody please.
Someone tell us, because I'm not going to Google that.
I'm not either. I don't want to. I want you guys to tell us.
But that was my note. What the fuck happened to Cochran's face?
Yeah, he leaves, right?
He's gone.
He doesn't die.
He's dead.
You think he died?
Unless he gets transported to like another.
Because he just looked at him, he applauded, and then he like just zooms out.
Well, maybe he is transported to Planet Halloween.
Oh, mind you, they do have that Hall of Fame's room in that Silver Shamrock Company,
and they have all of those different masks.
It's pretty dope.
And they have like they have that Cobra mask that you blink, you miss it. And I mean, he's a respected toy maker. He has like all those different toys. And Buddy Senior tells him, oh, he invented this, he invented that. Like before he did the masks and stuff, he had been around for quite a while. Anyway, we're pretty much close to the end. We find out that at one point or another, Ellie had been turned into a droid because while she and Chalice are driving away, she attacks Chalice.
Yeah.
And they crash off road. And when Chalice gets out, Ellie continues attacking him. And he basically dismembers her.
Yeah.
And he knocks her head off with a crowbar. And it's fucking ludicrous and crazy.
She's
I mean,
a robot.
She's a robot. You know, it begs the question, has she been a robot this entire time?
Oh, her hand comes back and then he jumps at him and then he grabs the hand and it looks like he's going to position in his penis.
It's fucking nuts. It's so weird.
He just stomps on it or some bullshit.
I mean, the last shot of Ellie's head on the ground and then, like her arm attacks him too. It's too much. Yeah. It's so much. But it's scare after scare after scare in this last segment with Ellie's body parts coming up after him. It's not what you expected. I did not expect at all.
I think the director was like, the movie's ending and we still don't have a kill. So give it to Ellie.
They needed something and that's what it was. So that was kind of cool. But we're not done yet. Chalice runs away into the woods.
Why do they always run to the woods?
Because it's a horror film.
Jeez.
He ends up at the gas station from the beginning, Walter's station, and it's 9:00.
Oh.
It's time for the big giveaway.
It's not Monday the 1st?
It's not Monday the 1st just yet. Oh, Eastern Standard Time.
Right.
Chalice calls the TV stations to get the commercials off the air. Trick-or-treaters arrive at Walter's to get candy. The trick-or-treaters approach the television to watch the commercials. The commercial shuts down.
At this point, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm so calm because our hero did his job. We
but
can sit back. Yes, absolutely.
I don't know.
He's calling the networks. Listen, they're going to take the commercial off the TV. It's perfectly fine. He saved the day.
But then the treater changes the station.
What?
And then the commercial continues.
What do you mean it continues?
Well, yeah, that's when the trick-or-treater walks up to the TV, changes the station, and then Chalice is like, no, the commercial is still going.
So and it's being broadcasted in every single station, not just the one.
On every station. And so then the trick-or-treater changes the station, and then the commercial's still there. And then Chalice is like, no, it's still going. And then the commercial keeps playing. And then he's like, you have to change it. You have to change it.
So simply turn it off.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could have. He could have just reached over and turned off the fucking television.
It's on the radio, too. I don't know if you noticed.
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's everywhere.
But I think you have to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just reach over and assault the child.
Yeah,
take him out of the way, and so he doesn't see
mask
it.
Off.
The movie ends with Chalice screaming, and we can only assume that all of these kids just die.
Take it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. And like the song is just ding, 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 and the kids are all like, frying.
Yeah.
Like,
we assume that they're frying. We don't know.
It happened. I mean, this guy beamed out at the earth.
I like your indie.
So they're fighting Power Rangers, and we're over here frying kids.
Maybe he became Zoltan.
Zoltan?
Who the fuck is Zoltan?
I know Zoltar is the one from the machine where you read your fortune.
Voltron.
No, Voltron is a whole other thing.
Oh.
Zoltar?
Is it Zoltar?
It's not Zoltar.
Bun sounds like mums, fungs, chungs, chungs.
Dead man's chunks.
Is there such thing as chunks?
Oh, Zordon. It's Zordon. Zordon.
Oh
guys.
my god.
So what I was gonna say is,
that just gave me a horror.
I think. Oh, I love that. I think that Cochran became Zordon.
Maybe.
That's what's up.
But at least he's a good guy now.
At least he's a good guy now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Alex, I have a few questions for you. Do you think that this movie was scary without Michael Myers?
Yes, absolutely. Especially the Marge part that was just the most horrifying for me.
Do you think that this movie needed Michael Myers?
Nope, not at all. Not even that shot of him.
Yeah, I think that was just like a quick way to just remind people that this was a Halloween movie.
It's like a little too late in the movie anyways. So it's like you've already basically watched the movie and got the idea of it, and I don't need it.
I agree, by the way. I think that this
movie... Now I'm
movie
just still going to wait for him.
Is just perfectly fine as it is. And do you think that the movie was gory?
I wouldn't say gory. It had definite moments, yes, absolutely. The March part for me, fucking gore as shit. That's all I needed. The mouth split open like that, to me did it.
And my last question for you, which I'm going to try to bring back for every episode. Was Halloween 3 Season of the Witch worth slashing up and bleeding out?
Absolutely. It is the underdog of the Halloween franchise, and it deserves a damn spotlight. This is a really good movie, and you guys need to watch it. Like we said, separate yourself from Michael Myers. Give this motherfucker a shot, and you're going to like it. You're honestly going to be angry at you for pushing it aside so many years.
I think that's a perfect way of saying it. I think that this is definitely the underdog of the Halloween series. I wish.
And Tom Atkins does a really good job. He delivers. He definitely played the role. He did the part, and it could have been anybody, but he showed up.
Yeah, I think that he is a terrific actor, and I think that he does a fine job. I think all the actors did good here. I thought Stacey Nelkin is a good actress.
Yeah.
I thought everybody did what they had to do well.
I didn't need the sleaze part of him though. Like,
yeah,
I didn't need that at all.
We didn't need that stupid little love scene.
It's not bad, but it's just I didn't need it. Like, honest to God, like
Tom Atkins likes to show his ass. I mean, he liked to show his ass.
Show it, right?
He did. He showed it in The Fog. Mm-hmm. And I think that they must promise him a love scene with a young girl in every horror movie that he's in, because they gave him one in The Fog with Jamie Lee. And
he's got the dad bod, and I'm sure he was a freaking stallion back in his day.
But yeah, guys, that was Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I think that's a really good way to close out spooky season and our first successful month, I would say, of the Gory Gaze.
I do like the name though. Like, sorry, that was really loud. Was it?
No.
The name Season of the Witch is good for the movie, but it's really good for another movie. It is
another movie,
right?
From I think it's from the 70s, directed by George Romero. Cool. It's about like a housewife who's bored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, silly. It's considered a horror film. Season of the dumb bitch.
Hey.
Yeah, Alex, do you have anything to say about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, Season of the Bitch, before we close it out, before we knock it out?
If you guys can watch the movie, I'm telling you, watch the movie, especially on Halloween night. It doesn't build up the fall season. It doesn't make you feel like you're, like in one of those small fall town seasons. But the masks, the witch, the skull, and the pumpkin do all the work for it.
Yeah, it's a very simple movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just takes you to a simpler time.
Remember, because the introduction of the movie, there's masks that exist in a small town, but if you focus, they're like little clown masks, little bunnies. I think this was the first time that horror type masks were introduced into the town or even America.
It's like a comment on materialism.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys have a really safe and spooky Halloween. We will be back next week with Urban Legend. Woo. Celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Wow.
On this earth.
That's crazy. We talk about movies anniversaries, but then we're like, where was I? And I'm like, oh shit.
Dude, I have a lot to talk about with Urban Legend. It's such a fucking fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened at such a pivotal time in my life, and I'm just so pumped, speaking of Brian Coe, to talk about it. I wish we could find a way to bring him on here, but alas, here we are.
We will.
We will one day. Ryan, we love you.
We love you, Ryan.
So yeah, guys, have a great Halloween. We look forward to coming back next week. If you have any suggestions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram, like Alex mentioned earlier, at The Gory Gaze. Or you can email us at thegorygaze@gmail.com. And yeah, guys, stay spooky.
Stay gory.
That's what I meant to say. And we will be back next week.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
We love you.
Bye.